Hello, everyone. It is Rory and Daniel here at that Eurovision site, Eurovision with a slice of life. And in this video, we are going to be checking out and sort of kind of comparing between Innsbruck and Vienna. As we are recording this, there is just less than 2 weeks to go until the host city for Eurovision 2026 will be announced. So we're going to break it down. We're also just going to sort of look at which city we think has the best chances and maybe also give ourselves a little bit of a personal opinion too. So, yeah, let's get straight into it. Yeah, so we are now down officially to the last two cities that are in the running to host Eurovision 2026. It is Innsbruck versus Vienna. This is kind of the same as how it was in 2015. It basically came down to Innsbruck versus Vienna, and Vienna edged it out due to having a lot more in terms for its technical abilities, in terms for the size of the stage as well as size of the hall, because obviously that was like the main one in the entire country. So we have a bit more information on how this could go, and given that we've seen this before last time around, what was your kind of initial impression of the fact that it was going to be these two?
My initial reaction was it's surely going to be Vienna. Because
Mhm.
if I'm being honest, all reasonable logic would point to it being Vienna.
Yeah.
I feel like Innsbruck is definitely the underdog in this scenario because Austria is just one of those countries where the biggest city has the most resources available. Everything that Innsbruck has going for it, I think Vienna has going for it as well, and more on top of that. So, whilst I really like that more and more non-capital cities are hosting the contest, I don't think Innsbruck is the best city to host this next Eurovision, if I'm being honest.
Oh, someone's coming out the
I,
gate
I'm
immediately, you know?
That's not to say that it can't happen, but I think we would all be shocked if on the I think 20th, I think it is, on the radio as ORF announced everything, it's not announced as Vienna.
Yeah. I think it's weird when you think about it because, like, obviously, we've been so used now to having a string of non-capital cities hosting. It started off in Tel Aviv and then pretty much every single one since then. It's, but it is just a little bit, you know, out of the two options, Vienna is a lot better connected in terms
It
for,
feels like a very undramatic time for that to end as well, because most of the larger cities in Austria just kind of went, nah,
yeah,
not for us. Like Salzburg, which could have been like a fun ride, but immediately said, no, we just can't host.
yeah. Klagenfurt
Uh,
said the same thing, I believe, as well. So,
and I know there are quite a few people who are like wishing for Salzburg as well.
yeah. And I mean, there were other cities that were chucking different bits in. Obviously, we had Graz.
Cities, towns, villages, horse tracks.
Yeah, this host city race was actually quite nice to kind of watch as, we got very outlandish ones.
It's a really fun part of the season of small town mayors who quite obviously have not read a single one of the requirements saying, yes, my town can host.
I'm thinking of
That was
Prudo.
one of my one of my favorite parts of the UK hosting was we have an events hall. Can Darlington host Eurovision? No, of course it can't. But you bet the council will put their name in anyway. And I have loved just learning about obscure Austrian towns that are their country's Darlington.
exactly. I mean, I don't think I'd
It
ever
got
known of St. Polten
it,
before.
uh, I had because football, but I hadn't heard of Oberwart or Oberwart.
Yeah. And also, was it Ibrixdorf as well? The one that literally had was trying to do it on a race
I
course.
I think that was the equestrian center one.
Yeah. So it's always nice to sort of see how ambitious certain bids are. And then as they
Uh,
realize, it's like, okay.
I would also love to see a terrible, ill thought out dual city bid become a regular thing.
I mean, Basil
Because
Mulhouse could have been a thing,
yeah,
you know?
but Bern, Bien, and was it
Linz and
Linz
Wells.
and yeah, Linz and the smaller town that would have done the actual hosting. It's never gonna work.
At least they're trying. They're doing the best they
Yeah,
can. But yeah, they at least,
by all means try. You're doing more than Bristol did.
hey, 77 pounds spent on that bid in total was all they needed to spend. It was fine.
The
Um
arena's not even in Bristol, so
wasn't even built by that point, right? So
nope.
exactly. So I don't know how the hell they were planning on doing that. Anyway, but yeah, so I think it is very, very true. I think, Vienna does have a lot more going for it. I think, obviously it's the capital, it's the hub of, most things that are going on in Austria. It's very well connected, not only through Vienna airport, but also train wise. You have direct
Yeah,
connections to Slovakia, you have direct connections to Czechia, to Hungary, like, and of course, obviously, you can head out west and stuff like that too. It just it doesn't feel right
C-
almost.
transport connections is the big thing for me because for a town of Innsbruck size in the city, amazing transport, state of the art. You get outside of Innsbruck, Austria's got a good train system,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still May flights to Innsbruck direct, I think, are going to be hard to come by.
Yeah.
I know I certainly wouldn't be able to get a direct flight, and I know you wouldn't either because I looked from the same airport.
Yeah. They end
But
in March, so that wasn't good.
and I think it is telling that a lot of the connections that were coming up were via Vienna.
Yeah, which says it all, doesn't it?
I guess maybe you could also go to Munich or another like maybe
Venice,
even like
maybe,
maybe
you know, Zurich as well. There's all those. There are
it.
other options, but
I think
it's
that is going to be the crux a lot for Innsbruck, and it is not nearby to very many things.
yeah,
When you contrast that with, as well as a capital city streak recently, we've been getting a real la last 2 years border city streak, which I would really love if that kept going.
yeah, definitely. I mean, again, the opportunity to like go to Hungary or to Slovakia or to
Uh,
Czechia just within an hour's notice.
we've been discussing internally. We want to go to these countries we've not been to before and have it be part of Eurovision.
Yeah,
That would be
exactly.
so that, and there is just much less opportunity for that in Innsbruck.
Well,
And
you have Liechtenstein, but it's
you
still,
have you have Liechtenstein, and I guess you could go to Switzerland if you didn't go to Basel this year, like
yeah,
me.
otherwise it's a bit boring, isn't it?
Yeah, you could maybe go to like Munich as well,
True.
but still a bit of a trek.
Yeah. And that's the problem. Like, I think I would love to see a city like Innsbruck actually doing it because I think it would be
Yeah.
really, really
I
cool
feel
to
like
see.
they would put their heart and soul into it in a way that Vienna wouldn't do as much because they've had the contest before. They have big events all the time. We'll probably get into that. But
Yeah.
Basel, especially as a smaller city which doesn't get these opportunities as much, they went all out, really.
Yeah. And I think
I
it would,
would love to see Innsbruck get the opportunity to do that,
yeah,
but I don't think Eurovision is the event for that.
yeah. I
I
think
think,
it's a tough one because again, like it would be nice to see another side of Austria because all of the times
yeah,
that Austria has ever done Eurovision has always just been in Vienna. So it would be nice to sort of see something else. But if all of the infrastructure is basically in Vienna, it makes it very hard to kind of bring it outside
yeah.
of the capital. I know obviously like in the last couple of years that we've been having it, it's obviously in for example,
The
the BBC, they wanted to deliberately put it away from London, right? But then in 2024, then Stockholm didn't want to host it because the arenas were all booked up. So it kind of only left by a process of elimination Malmo to
and
be the only one.
2025, any of them would have continued to streak because you're all wrong. Switzerland does not have a capital city.
Exactly. So it just so happens that Bern is just where the seat of government is, in which case then it's sort of
Yeah,
the de facto capital, which is crazy in the grand scheme of things. Um, but yeah, I think I do think Innsbruck would put on a very good show. I think, the way they've put on like big scale events, for example, like the Winter Olympics, they
I
have
would
done very
really
well.
like to see what the show identity would be like for an Innsbruck Eurovision.
Yeah. I would imagine it would be similar to like a little like Basel in the sense of like
Yeah,
kind of leaning in on the Alps.
I bet they were like really disappointed that, oh, we could have done that. Now we'll look like we're copying them.
Yeah. But it would, I mean, I mean, this is a story for another time, but I always felt like kind of the 2015 sort of orb logo kind of thing always had that kind of feeling of being a bit alpine in a way anyway. So I feel like they've kind of already lucked out on that. Um,
I
so
just hope they don't bring the Mozart stuff back because
oh
once was
Jesus Christ, I
enough.
hope not. I really want them
He
to,
was from Salzburg. Come on.
yeah. I just want them to like avoid. I also just want something a little bit like less clean. I want something a little bit more gritty, but that's a story for another time. Anyway, we'll find that out when the host city is actually officially named. But like, you know, kind of looking at it, um, we have the Wiener Stadthalle, which has already done Eurovision before, and then we have the Olympiahalle. The Olympiahalle is like smaller, but in recent years we have seen smaller sort of like places actually do quite well in terms for hosting a big audience. So, like for example, St. Jakobshalle in Basel, it really only had about the capacity for about maybe 8,000 people, but it looked
Yeah.
huge on screen. Um, so do you think maybe the EBU is like gonna maybe take that into consideration and maybe be
I
a
think
little more
the
open?
EBU have said, and I know there's been some like wormers and concern about this, that both venues are fine and that they
Yeah,
wouldn't have shortlisted them otherwise.
yeah. So
And
that's already a
it's
good
not
sign for Innsbruck and Vienna.
I think it's not really about the size of the arena, it's about what you accomplish within it. Like we've had like massive like 60, 70,000 seater stadiums do Eurovision. But
Arkin, we
St.
will,
Jakobs,
you'll always be famous.
but St. Jakobshalle was nice.
Yeah, it was snug,
And
but it was good.
they did a really, whether you liked it or not, it was a really bold take on the stage.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like if you have the size for this stadium or for the arena and stuff like that, you can allow for really interesting stage designs, for example, and things, good uses of the space that are there. Um, if that was the case though, I really would be kind of worried for Vienna because I I mean, I was not on the stage like video, but I will tell you this now. I hated the 2015 stage. I thought it was a horrible use of the state of the space that was there. So I would be very, afraid of how they would utilize it again Whereas I feel like with Innsbruck, like it's sort of fresh ground. They can kind of, anything is possible, that kind of things. And I think that does impact, that does get considered when it comes to actually how like the EBU makes this decision. So with that, then I don't know. I'm thinking like, what other kind of key components would you say make a big, like a really good host city? What ones are like you've been to Eurovision a few times now. So what's your
Once.
kind of well, once, okay. That hey, once is
It
more than
has
zero.
to it has to have things that people can do when there are not Eurovisions on.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is where being an alpine, mostly winter sports city really, really comes to bite Innsbruck in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at things to do around Innsbruck, it's a lot of hiking trails and similar. It is a winter sports city. There is a reason most of the flights are seasonal. There is still some stuff. It's like a university city as well,
Yeah.
but compare and contrast that to the cultural center of the country
Mm-hmm.
and leak into inside TES towers where you've started like social things we could do at Eurovision if people who want to go. Basically all of the things that we have listed are in Vienna
Yeah.
because simply we as people are far more interested in the things that are in Vienna.
Yeah.
Also, this is not relevant, but September this year, Vienna is hosting the World Tram Driver Championships. And it would just feel wrong to not mention that in this video.
We're nothing if not transport nerds here at that Eurovision site. Maybe the T in test stands for transport, you know. Just
Maybe,
say
maybe.
transport Eurovision site. Makes sense. Um,
I'd be down.
yeah, why not? Yeah. I think it's a really, really hard thing to kind of argue in Innsbruck's favor. Like the nature around Innsbruck is really beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Obviously,
Yeah,
you're landing in the middle of the Alps is always that
yeah.
kind of thing. Very easy to get into the city center as well, from what I've understood. It's pretty much like literally almost bang in the city center. Um, but it is hard to kind of find things to do. And
Because it is a small city.
yeah,
Like the population would make it a minor city in most larger European countries' sizes.
yeah.
It is
And
not
that
even
and
close to being the biggest city in Austria.
yeah. And it's
It is an achievement that it's even in the final two to begin with.
yeah. And like the thing is as well, when you think about it, that also will massively impact the accommodation as well. And
Yeah,
being a huge Eurovision
I,
like city, you have to
and
accommodate for
I
30, 40,000 people.
I would imagine a lot of the accommodation is for the winter sports crowd. Is it because at the end of the day, that is who they are attracting 99 point whatever the time. They are the people who go to Innsbruck. You go there for skiing, you go there for mountain hiking in the Alps.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Snowboarding.
that is what the economy and that is what the Innsbruck tourist economy is built around. Vienna, it is built around regular city break tourism,
Yeah.
which is far more what Eurovision and or that's what the Eurovision crowd would, I think, certainly I would prefer to do. I want it to be Vienna because I would rather go to Vienna than to Innsbruck.
Mm-hmm. And I
And
think,
I'm definitely not alone in that.
yeah. And I think as well, like I understand the idea that Innsbruck is trying to go for maybe by bidding for Eurovision in the sense of like it's trying to diversify its sort of economy so it's not just reliant on the winter, because obviously when you come to sort of these very big seasonal tourist places, a lot of the time they are very much struggling when it's off season.
Yeah.
I know, say for example, Benidorm. I spoke with the head of tourism at Visit Benidorm when I was there for Benidorm Fest in 2023, and she said that you know having Benidorm Fest is actually quite helpful to the city because usually in winter it's quite quiet there, and in the summer usually the population swells to four times the size of the city. So
The Brits turn up.
the Brits, the Germans, the Dutch, honestly, all of us, the Irish as well. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I can see why they're trying to do it so that they have sort of a sustainable long term thing to get them through the summer, but also at the same time, if you don't have things that will keep fans interested and there's no history to
How
it
about
either.
that right that new Austrian national final? Put it in Innsbruck. They deserve it.
Yeah, I think it would be good. Again, I'm sure they would happily have
It's
it.
I'm going to be very surprised if that lasts to 2027. But put
Oh
it in
God, yeah.
Innsbruck.
You never know. Anything could happen, but yeah. So yeah, I think it goes without saying that we should probably predict who is going to host Eurovision 2026. I think it should come as no surprise, but I'll let you make your prediction anyway.
I think it will be Vienna, and I cannot wait to go to the Globe Museum.
I knew you were going to say it. I mean, it's a very good museum purely from Daniel's recommendations. I've heard it's very good. So,
I've never been, but a lot of people have been based on my recommendation,
so there you go. So we will see if any other people
and
actually
they
go
think
to.
it's great.
We'll see if you get any other people now from this. It'll be really interesting. Yeah, I think it'll
But
have to be Vienna. But
there's also like multiple eateries we have in sauce. There's one that a train brings the food to your table. There's one called Habsburgers where the food's themed after the Habsburgs.
I
Is
love it.
everything is still going on in Vienna? They'd be
Everything.
fools to not pick it, even though it's had Eurovision before.
Yeah.
It's been a decade. Come
They
on.
can change it up a little bit. I hope they'll change it up a little bit anyway, if that was the case. Yeah. Yeah, I would say the same. I think it has to be Vienna. Everything is pointing in its favor. Um, you know, it has the infrastructure, has the capability to put up with, tens of thousands of Eurovision fans. It has things to do, like it has like the Prater, which is like a huge fucking like Ferris wheel, like in the city center of Vienna. Like you have the Danube Towers that, and I believe that in the bid book they had said that they would put on a variety of different things, including bungee jumping into the Danube. So
Into
I would be very intrigued to see how that would go.
into the Danube.
Well, maybe not into it, but like on it, maybe. I mean,
I-
yeah,
is this the new floating down the Basel River?
probably, yeah. I would think so. But it's just make it a little bit like cosplaying the Salem witch trials, for fun. Yeah. So I think it'll be interesting to see how the city would actually again put up with things for a whole new series, a whole new season and everything. Um but yeah, I think Austria would really like next time Austria hosts it, it has to be held somewhere other than Vienna. I think after a while, I think people will just get a bit bored, and I think they need to show off a new side of them.
In Innsbruck 2037, sure.
Yeah, exactly. Why not? Any better late than never. Let's hope this contest is still going by that
All,
point.
all the snow will have melted. All the snow will have melted by that point anyway.
Exactly. You know what? They could diversify themselves by that point.
Yeah.
Um,
Can't be a winter sports economy when there's no winter.
exactly. We hate climate change here at that Eurovision site. So yeah. So with that, I think that pretty much wraps this discussion up. Obviously, as we're recording this, we still have zero idea who the actual host city is. Maybe we will be surprised, maybe we'll be completely not surprised. We will
This
wait.
has this has potential to age as badly as the rest of our predictions.
Well, that's exactly it. We are not exactly ones to be we're not
Remember
exactly
when
ones.
Tommy Cash was gonna flop in the final? I do.
That was him. That was this one over here. What can we say? Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how it goes. You know, maybe things will completely change. We'll find out in on the 20th of August. Allegedly, this is not 100% confirmed by ORF just yet either, or by the leaders of both Vienna or Innsbruck as well. So who knows? Maybe it could come the day after we're recording this, or the 20th, or maybe they'll delay it till September. Who knows at this point?
It better not be tomorrow.
We've got things to do,
Because
you know. Yeah.
this won't be out by announcement time tomorrow.
Do you want to tempt fate?
No.
There we go. Good idea. Good call. But yes, so please do let us know what you think about our predictions in the comment section down below. Do you agree with us? Do you think Vienna is pretty much a shoe-in, or do you think Innsbruck actually still stands a really good chance? In the meantime, please do continue to follow us on all of our social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, Tumblr, pretty much anywhere, feel free to just follow us all over there at that Eurovision site. Or sorry, at that Euro site, should I say? Check out that EurovisionSite.com as well for all of our news content as we are starting to get towards the beginning of the new year. And also check out the podcast as well, wherever you get your podcasts as well, because we will be pumping out a whole load of other different podcasts over the next few weeks. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing how this kind of plays out. So we will see you in the next one. See you later.
Bye.